Happy birthday, Zach.
Yeah, Zach, where are you?
All right. He just came home from the Ponderosa Stomp in New Orleans with Mr. Eddie Daniels, legendary Eddie Daniels, who's in the room tonight. Thank you very much, Alan. And he just came home from Portland and New York. If you're on Facebook with Deke Dickerson and you read his blogs and his notifications, whoa, he never stops, and there's some good stuff on there. And he's here to share it with us all tonight. When he's done, he's going to share some vinyl with DJ Rock and Vic, who he is. Legend to us. He's a young legend, Deke Dickerson. Woo!
Thanks for coming down to my new coffee shop folk singer career. Well, they asked me to do this, and I've never done something like this before. But it'll be fun. I like a good challenge. How about a hand for Miss Karen Mamont? And we've got more celebrities here than people in the civilian audience. We've got Donna Loren over here. Jesus, Jimmy Angel is here. Mr. Eddie Daniels is here. And of course, Charmin Larman, Mr. Alan Larman over here. Radio personality. So, I tried to put together a list of tunes that I have never performed before on stage, and a few that I've never performed by myself. I figured a good place to start would be to start by just saying that I'm not really sure why I wound up playing this kind of music. You know, I grew up in the 70s. I remember all of the kids that I went to school with listening to Led Zeppelin and the Village People, and I just did not like that. I didn't like it at all. Somehow or other, I liked all the 50s stuff that was on TV, you know, Happy Days and American Graffiti and all that. And out of that, just expressing the fact that I liked that kind of music, I got a stack of hand-me-down records, and that pretty much defined the rest of my life, this little hand-me-down stack of records. There was Elvis and Little Richard and Jerry Lee Lewis and Ray Charles and Paul Revere and the Raiders and the Monkees, and you know, that really kind of defined what I would be liking and playing and listening to for the rest of my life. And there was a record in there. Now keep in mind, I lived on a farm in Columbia, Missouri, way out in the middle of nowhere, 10 miles from the nearest anything, didn't listen to the radio, and there was a record in my stack of hand-me-down records by Neil Sedaka. It was from 1960. The record was called Stairway to Heaven. So I sat there and I would play my stack of records over and over and over again. I had all these records memorized. The time came, I guess I was probably about 13 years old. There was a place in my town, it was a college town, called the Shea Coffee House. And this was, even though this was probably the early 80s, it was like a beatnik coffee house from the 1960s. It was in the basement of the Methodist church, you know, and it was run by some college kids. And they had an open mic night. So that was where I first started playing live to an audience. It actually was about the same size room as this. I feel like I've gone back to the beginning. So I was up there doing my thing. I was playing some Elvis and some Jerry Lee Lewis and some Little Richard. And finally this guy in the back, he yells out, "Stairway to Heaven!" I go, "I know that one." Great. Climb up, way up high. Climb up, way up high. Climb up, way up high. Oh, willow, 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 heavenly angel, I want you for my girl. When I kissed your sweet, sweet lips, I knew that you were out of this world. I'll build a stairway to heaven. I'll climb to the highest star. I'll build a stairway to heaven, 'cause heaven is where you are. And about this time, I look out and the dude who had made the request, he's looking at me like this. And of course, I had never even heard the Led Zeppelin song, so I just kept going. Willow, over the rainbow, that's where I'm gonna climb. Way up high where the bluebirds fly, I'm gonna love you all the time. I'll build a stairway to heaven, I'll climb to the highest star. I'll build a stairway to heaven, 'cause heaven is where you are. And by this time, of course, everybody inside the coffee house is going like this. Which also would set the tone for the rest of my career. Well, I gotta be going, gonna leave the world behind. Every day in a heavenly way, you're gonna drive me out of my mind. I'll build a stairway to heaven, I'll climb to the highest star. I'll build a stairway to heaven, 'cause heaven is where you are. I'll build a stairway to heaven, 'cause heaven is where you are. Climb up, way up high. Climb up, way up high. Climb up, way up high. Oh. Thank you. Now, of course, I don't know, it was maybe a year or so later, I finally got to hear Led Zeppelin's Stairway to Heaven for the first time. And I remember thinking to myself, if there's a bustle in your hedgerow, don't be alarmed now. It's just a sprinkling for the May Queen. I still have no idea what the hell that means.
I found out recently.
You found out recently? Don't tell me. Don't contaminate this pure mind.
It's got to do with reading. You wouldn't like it.
Oh, okay. No, I consider myself literate. You know, magazines and comic books and things like that.